I mean, we already knew it was a swamp. That's why we nicknamed it that. We already knew they were paying people to do a lot of jobs that, as we saw during the shutdown, aren't even needed. I mean, you've got President Trump wanting to shut down the Department of Education and streamline most federal agencies. So we know that a lot of these folks, their positions aren't even needed. But now we're learning over the past 4 or 5 years, they got paid a whole bunch more money. I mean, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. I'll take some of that money back in the way of our taxes, John.
Yeah, Dan, look, the problem keeps getting worse. But, we're hopeful. We're going to look at the numbers next year and see what the Trump administration actually did. We're going to hopefully see some reductions in the federal workforce. Some areas are going to be bigger, most likely, but we're going to come back with those numbers. But what we've seen in this period between 2020 and 2024, Dan, the problem isn't just that the federal workforce increased, it's that it increased far faster than the private sector. So there was about a 33% increase in the government payroll growth compared to the private sector.
Whoa.
And that's including the bump involved with people coming back to work after COVID. So there was an artificial increase, and so that kind of skewed the numbers.
Right.
So really, we're looking at a much more significant growth of government compared to the private sector. And the problem is again, going back to the founders and the Constitution, the entire purpose of the Constitution, it's a document about limiting government in order to give us more liberty and freedom. And the founders understood that the natural order of things is for government to grow and for liberty to yield to that. So what we've got to do is put the onus on the federal government to shrink, so that expands our liberty. Every dollar saved in Washington is a dream realized somewhere in America, and we've got to get the federal workforce up.
That's a great point, John. I mean, I don't have to be a mathematician or an analyst like yourself to understand that if it's growing 5% with staff, but their salaries are growing, I think the number was 24% or whatever, something doesn't jive. I get inflation was hell underneath Biden. We all know that. We suffered it for the 4 years, and we're still suffering it as Trump tries to, level the playing field with tariffs, and it's still a rough patch right now in 2025. But if you're only increasing your staffing across the board a few percentage, but they're getting raises in the 20-some percentile, especially when COVID was happening and the country was shut down and slowed down, why do government employees, bureaucrats, who we can't even see their salary, deserve a 15, 20, 24% raise when the rest of us were sent home? Nobody was getting anything during COVID. I'm glad you guys did this report. Right. Thank you.
Well, and this year is a good example because the real wage increases are only maybe 1%. So that's, there's a lot of things that need to happen in the economy to get that number going up again. But again, the government wages are growing way faster, far faster. So we looked at the high income earners too, as you mentioned. So we looked at people making $100,000. And look, I live just outside of DC. $100,000 is not a ton in DC, but it's a lot in the rest of the country. But of that bracket, we saw I think a 49% increase in the number of people earning $100,000 or more in the past 4 years. But when you get to the $200,000 bracket, that's about 78,000 people. The number of people making $200,000 increased 82%. So you're seeing huge growth, and that's what happens when, again, this is what the founders anticipated, is that when you concentrate power in the federal government, it begins to grow out of control like a tumor. And that's what we're seeing with the federal government. And that's why this year is so important, because the administration has made an effort with DOGE and other efforts.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.